Boxing has always been about sacrifice. That is what makes fighters that enter the ring so respected and loved. Though, like all good things, we don't appreciate what we've got until it's gone.
Crowd already electric here in round one!
And never does this ring truer than for fans of the sweet science pressing for the next big clash. For blood.
These people are booing.
I don't care what they say, I knocked him out.
But let's face it, with a booming heavyweight division and stars emerging at all levels, the sport is on fire.
Price, the tail's in! He won't make it!
Great shot from
Just as you say that, a wonderful right hook! A performance from Mikey Garcia!
From what has already been a phenomenal year for the sport, we now shed light on some of the biggest upcoming fights, featuring a perfect blend of up-and-comers, challengers, and champions. September, a very special month for boxing. Here are the ones you don't want to miss. The first day of the month starts with a bang, a relatively familiar bang, one that only those following the Golden Boy's latest prospect will be used to seeing and hearing.
First it's her neck, yeah, then her back. Me and my freak, I get into all that. Girl, I'll perform for you like a porn star. Till you had enough, then I just need a little bit more.
His 16th outing as a professional, Ryan Garcia looks to maintain his unbeaten streak. Love him or hate him, at just 20 years old, you can expect plenty more from one of boxing's fastest rising stars. He comes in against tough Mexican Carlos Morales, a man we saw last year facing fellow Golden Boy prospect Alberto Machado.
I know that I'm going to come out victorious. So if Ryan is supposed to be the next great fighter, I want to test him. I want to see if he's actually going to be the next great fighter.
It does not matter. The punches do the talking, not the talking.
These rappers so bad lyrically, it ain't even funny, I ain't even hungry, it ain't even money, you can't pay me enough, you can play me.
The second weekend of the month, two more high-profile matchups. The first, on British soil, sees the second comeback fight of British star AMIR Khan. After beating Le Greco in April, the 30 seconds of action didn't really answer many questions. However, considering he can handle the speed, Samuel Vargas should provide much more of a test for the Bolton fighter.
I guarantee that my fighter will not be another Phil Greco.
I'm going to pull off an upset. That's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do what Brady Prescott did last time he came up here. That's my job.
So despite being considered a tune-up fight, expect plenty of action, especially from a do-or-die fighter like AMIR Khan. On the same night, a man who gave Khan's opponents one of his 3 losses, Danny Swift Garcia, up against fellow American Shawn Porter in a real pick'em fight. Two experienced and sturdy champions, Porter's activity and work rate against Garcia's movement and counterpunching.
And this is a case of the king is dead, long live the king.
Shawn Porter is here ready to fight Danny Garcia whenever he's ready to fight. Don't talk about you waiting on this, you waiting on that. There's nobody else for you to fight.
Expect fireworks as the two collide to reclaim world honors in the coveted 147-pound division.
We ain't trying to spar, we're trying to make some money. This the Danny Garcia show. Out of here.
Next, we jump to Mexican Independence Weekend, one of the biggest in the boxing calendar. 2 more fights, the first being Jose Ramirez defense against top contender Antonio OROZCO. could be a low-key fight of the year, we see two unbeaten fighters put everything on the line. Two skillful volume punchers. We can fully expect a RAMIREZ-Santa Cruz type of tear-up. Certainly one to watch. The day after, it's the one we've all been waiting for. The one we never thought would happen. 1 year on from the controversial draw, Golovkin will once again put his belts on the line against his now equally controversial Mexican opponent.
There's no different kind of motivation. It's a motivation just to win and to try to knock somebody out. That's how my guys fight.
Tied with Bernard Hopkins' record, Golovkin has the chance to make history if he comes out on top.
This is fight. This is dangerous for both. This is a special moment.
With the addition of some trash talk and what appears to be genuine dislike for one another, the fight might just live up to all the hype.
This is officially a draw.
The 22nd of September provides an equally, maybe even bigger matchup in the heavyweight division.
Heavyweight champion of the world,
Anthony Joshua makes his first return to Wembley since that historic night against Klitschko. This time, however, against one of the Ukrainians' former victims, Alexander Povetkin. Povetkin's power dragged him through a close matchup against David Price. But against boxing's most prominent figure, he may not be so lucky. With Wilder Fury now set for December, things are starting to get interesting.
I think part of him wants to go back to the old crash bang wallop Anthony Joshua that people love to watch, and I think you're going to see a scintillating performance from Joshua.
Moving then to the last weekend of the month. George Groves and Callum Smith come together for an all-British Super Series finale in Saudi Arabia.
Callum's got the potential to knock George out. We know George can be knocked out, and George has the power to knock Callum out.
En route to the final, Smith made relatively light work of his opposition, whilst we saw Groves' slick, one-sided performance against Eubank Jr. With Groves' WBA title on the line, the fight has all the ingredients to be a barnstormer, in boxing's equivalent to the Champions League. Starting with a golden boy, September also ends with a rising king, this time TMT's equivalent, Devin Haney. Whereas Garcia is the more popular of the two, with his huge social media following, Haney is considered by many as the real deal. Squaring off against a sturdy Mexican opponent, a former opponent of Mikey Garcia, to show fans just how good he is. Skills, speed, and flair, Haney is tipped for greatness.
Okay, because you got the skills, and at the end of the day, as you get older, the power gonna come.
Also, taking a page out of his mentor's book, Haney has set up his very own promotional company, aged just 19. Whilst many more great fights sit in the pipeline, September is a month which has it all. And with 50-50 matchups and potential upsets looming, expect divisions to be shaken up and fireworks for the remainder of the year.